there, my name is Stephanie Spicer, and I'm a sort of part-time artist. I have an Etsy store called The Mermaid Island, and I just got this idea to maybe share some of my process on the internet. Just simple projects or complicated ones that I'm doing, stuff for the store, stuff for myself, and just to share that process with you in case you want to come along. So, what I'm going to do today is I am going to fit a t-shirt. So, I went to the thrift store the other day and I found this gigantic t-shirt. And I'm a pretty small person, but the reason that I bought this t-shirt was because as soon as I touched it, I noticed like how good the material was. It's like really nice cotton. So I didn't want to pass it up, but it's definitely too big for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this long sleeve tee that I've used for pajamas for about 6 years and which fits me really well, and I'm going to use it as a sort of a base to make a smaller shirt. So let's get started. So as you can see, I've laid out the shirt, and what I'm thinking to do is, first of all, I'm going to keep the sleeves pretty much, but I'm just going to make them a bit smaller. So it's still going to be a long sleeve tee, but it's going to have just thinner arms. This part, which is the collar, is good enough for the size of my head. And so I'll probably take the stitches apart so that I don't damage it, and then I'll use it on the smaller body, which I will cut from this part of the t-shirt. I'm also going to leave the bottom seam intact just because it's will save me some work, and it's nicely done. So let's get started to cut out the body of the shirt. Let's see. I don't really want the logo because I don't care about that. So I might just make it a little bit smaller than this t-shirt, like a little bit shorter. No, I don't know. Should I do that? Or maybe I'll move it over here. Okay, so this is what I came up with. Sort of hiding the logo by, it's going to be off what I cut, or just a little bit inside, but it will be taken up by the seam allowance. So as you can see, it's going to be a couple of inches shorter than this shirt. Just really would like to avoid that logo because I don't like it. And I don't really like to wear logos of stuff that I'm not passionate about because that just seems like a little silly. Alright, so I'm just pretty much laying it out as carefully as I can. And it's important to remember the seam allowance. So I'm going to allow about 1 centimeter of seam allowance. And just basically cut around my shirt following the lines. This is just for the torso section, the bodice. I don't know if you call it a bodice for a t-shirt, or if that's just a dress term. And I'm going to try to follow the contours of the sleeve as well. Catching a little bit of that logo inside of the seam allowance, which is fine. Forgot about this is smaller than this one. Right, for now I'm just going to cut a straight line across, okay? Here you've also got some of the logo from the back, which is a bit ugly. That might come out when I put in the collar. Let's see. Okay, so this is pretty much how this looks now. It's like a, kind of like the shape of a sleeveless vest. Alright, now let's cut the sleeves. See, it's just pretty much a basic arc here, and that's about what we'll do on here as well. Actually, I think I'm going to use this one again as the model. Okay. Get that out of the way so I don't accidentally cut it. Alright. It's about the same size. So again, leave some room for the seam allowance. One thing that's nice about making clothes out of other clothes is just there's a lot less work to do because some of it's already been done for you. So let's see what we've got here now. I'm gonna just eyeball it to follow that curve. Let's see how it is. Could be better. And now that we've got one sleeve, we can just basically use it as a stencil for the other. The nice thing about working with cotton knits is that they don't slide around. They're like, have a little bit of traction, so it helps to keep things in place while you're cutting. Not so nice for working with a sewing machine though, I've found. But I'm planning to sew this by hand anyway because I don't have a sewing machine. So, problem solved. Alright. Now I've got the sleeves, I've got the body. Now, just got to do the collar, and this part's going to be more complicated. Just wondering if I should even use this collar. Another option would just be to do like fold, sort of like a fold like that around the edge, like just to cut the neckline the way I want it, and then to put the edge on it. That would be a lot faster. Let's see. I kind of like the wide necks because I tend to like get too hot when I'm sleeping. So I'm not sure. Well, I'll put this away for now and I'll just work on this part and then I'll decide that later. So here we've got 2 pieces. Got to turn them inside out. Oh hey, if I don't turn them inside out. No, I'm going to turn them inside out. Let's do it the right way. Oh, there's paint inside. No, it's a sticker. Never know what you're going to find from thrift store clothes. Alright. So basically you just like turn it inside out so that the seams will be on the inside of the garment. And like I was mentioning before, the cotton knit material has a kind of attraction, so even things like pinning are not as necessary, but just to do it the right way, I will do it. I'll pin it. Let's see, get this in the shot. Not a big deal, really. Pin it. Alright, I'm going to turn off the camera a bit because now I'm going to do some hand sewing and that's going to take a long time. So I'm basically just going to do a seam up here and a seam up here. See you on the other side. Okay, I'm back now. So I've done the seams up on both sides and now I'm going to do the sleeves. So just turn them inside out. And then we'll just do a seam up here. So I'm just going to sew those on both of the sleeves and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back and that took a little bit longer than I thought it would, but I'm going to put the sleeves over here because we really need to do the neck before we put the sleeves on. So I kind of had to think about it and I decided to go more with the wide neckline just because it's like more comfortable for me than a small one. So I'm going to use this as like a general pattern from this t-shirt and let's see where to go from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this inside of here so that I can trace it better. All right. Actually, no. The very first step is just to put a little bit of slope in the shoulders, so we'll use this again as a guide for that. Okay, just going to kind of eyeball it. Then you can use that to trace on the other side. Alright, so those are going to be the shoulders. Alright, now I'm going to put it inside and match up the shoulders with the shoulders. Okay. So maybe it would be a good idea to use some chalk. Let's see if I've got any yellow chalk that'll work. So I'll try to straighten this out a bit. I'm just going to do like a basic line and we can sort of, if it's not exactly right, we can fix it later before we cut it. So that's on that side. And then on this side. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes. I'm not being very careful with my camera framing for this video, so sorry about that. Okay, let's see how it looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna, again, use that as a general guide and then sort of eyeball it to wherever it's not exactly straight as could be. Okay, so that's the front. And then this is the back. Just gonna straighten it out a little more. Is it good? Okay. Great. Wondering if I should cut the back a little bit lower to get rid of some of this, but I think it's actually going to get covered up by the collar anyways, like most of it. There'll be a tiny corner in here, but it's on the inside anyway, so it's fine. So at first I was thinking to use this collar from the original shirt, but I decided against that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take like a strip, and it will have to be folded 4 times so that it's got, well, let me explain it. I'll cut a piece, and it should be 4 times as thick as I want the collar to be. So let's see how thick this collar is. I might make it a little thinner than this one is. This one's about 1 centimeter approximately. So if I was going to make it the same, this would have to be about 4 centimeters, but I might make it a little smaller, like I said. It's actually 1.5 centimeters, this collar. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this at, well, maybe I should just cut it as big as possible for now. And then I can always make it smaller later. Again, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. If you really want to be exact. You can use a ruler, but it's not that important for this to be straight. I think it's straight enough as far as I can do it like this. Okay, so now I've got this strip of material. So let me just show you what I meant. So basically you fold it in half. Well, say if there's a line down the middle, you fold both sides inwards towards that line and then fold it on the middle line. So then basically you've got like a sandwich. See that? And then you can sandwich the edge of the material right into that around the neck. So it's going to be like this, sandwiched around like that. First of all, I'm going to sew these two shoulder areas, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and got those seams done there, and the collar pretty straight. It's still a little bit lopsided, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm not going to do the collar part right now. I'm going to do the sleeves. So this is a little bit tricky, and it actually took me a while to learn how to do it. So I'm going to actually show you. So the shirt itself is inside out, but the sleeves have to be the right side out so that the seam is on the inside. Okay, and then they need to be inside of the garment, like so backwards to the shirt, like that, inside. So I'm gonna put them in here and then line up the seam that's on the bottom edge of the sleeve will line up with the side seam of the garment. And then I'm going to pin it all around the armhole. Hopefully it fits, because I did a little bit of like moving around with the adjustments and stuff. So let me just see if it fits. If not, then we can do some other stuff. Physics gets complicated when it's on a curve like this. It's like there's a little bit of leftover because the sleeve is bigger than the hole. So what we can do is we can make the hole bigger by cutting it a little bit. So this is where you kind of need to just do some trial and error, but just always cut little bits, because if you cut too much, then you're going to be left with an unworkable piece. So just cut in very little amounts, and then you can always cut more later, but you can't put the material back. Not sure if you can see what I'm doing here. See, I just cut like a tiny little bit off. All right, let's find the sleeve again. I just shoved it inside a little bit. Let's line it up again. Okay, it looks like it's still too big, so try one more time. I also got a little bit an edge of the old seam on the top of the shirt sleeve, so I'm gonna trim that off too. Okay, that took quite a bit of fiddling, but finally I have the armhole the same size as the sleeve. So now I'm gonna go ahead and stitch that, and I'll probably do the other one before I turn the camera back on. Hey, so just before I lose the light, I just wanted to show how it's looking. I think it's looking pretty good. This is turned the right way out, and I just have one sleeve on so far, but I'm gonna do the other one now. Hello, it's the next day, and I sewed on the sleeves, so this is what it looks like so far. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. The only thing is, still got a part of the logo on the back, so I think that I might make the neck even a little bit wider before I put on the sort of neck, what you call it? The lining, I don't know. Okay, so here you can see actually this shoulder, this shoulder part is actually quite a bit smaller than this one, so that will help me as I try to even it out. Just gonna make a marker and then work from there. I'm just gonna freehand it. Check that it's basically equal. I think it's good. So now I've got these two pieces that I cut out of the rest of the shirt. I hope it's going to be enough to go around. I think so. So I'm just going to fold it like I showed you yesterday, sort of the folding the both sides to the middle and then folding it over. So it looks like this, right? Both sides to the middle and then over, and then that's going to sandwich around the edge here. So I'm going to fold that and pin it, and then I will come back. Okay, I finished it, and I think I might have accidentally made a video without pressing the on button, so sorry if I missed part of the process, but here's how the neck looks now. It took a little bit of fiddling, but it's all done. So I'm really happy because I got this humongous t-shirt for €1, and now it's a really nice long sleeve tee that is my size. So that's it.